Welcome to Perception versus Reality Sports and Culture, where we cover sports from a different angle and bring you topics most podcasts and radio shows will not cover. I'm your host, Rodney870, and welcome my co-hosts, Neely, Mr. Sports IQ, Lemuel, aka Limwood, and Stanley, known on Instagram as Third World 870. Please enjoy this PBR clip and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Let's go ahead and get started with the Super Bowl recap. I'll give you my opinion. The initial score was 13. The ending score was 13-3. The lowest scoring Super Bowl in history. Julian Edelman won the MVP, which neither one of us predicted last week. I think you got the Super Bowl winner right, but all of us missed on the MVP. He had 10 receptions, 141 yards. Sonny Michel, who I thought should have been the MVP because he came up with big runs late. He had 18 rushes, 94 yards, and then the game-winning TD. Tom Brady really struggled in the game. Although he had 262 yards and an interception, he struggled pretty bad with a 25 QBR, which is his lowest in the Super Bowl, in the non-Super Bowl he's played in. But he did come up big on an incredible drive to take the lead 10-3. So Tom Brady, although he struggled most of the game, still think he came up big when the clutch moments hit. You know, when it was time for the clutch, when it was time for Brady to come through, as he always shown, he has ice water in his veins. He made 2 incredible throws to Gronk, good catches by Gronk also, but Brady put him right there on the spot, took the team down, scored the game-winning touchdown, and that was all she wrote pretty much. The defense was Belichick's defensive plan was amazing, and I want to give the black defensive coordinator credit. I can't think of his name right now. What's his name? Do you know his name? Brian Flores. Okay, yes, I want to give him credit also because he was calling the defensive plays. So I'm sure him and Belichick put their heads together and came up with this masterful defensive plan. Gilmore was the defensive MVP to me. 5 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and he also had an interception, a key interception, when the Rams were going down to potentially score to take the lead, tie the game up at 10-10. He made an incredible play. It was an incredible play, but he made a smart play, stepped in front of the ball, picked it off on a bad throw by Goff. Speaking of Goff, he struggled really bad in this game. I think he showed his immaturity. I think he showed that he wasn't ready for the big stage. He couldn't make the right reads, was taking unnecessary sacks, throwing the ball in the dirt the entire game. Whenever they started to make drives, he made some terrible throws like the interception I just spoke of. He was under pressure, and you're in a Super Bowl. Instead of him just pulling the ball down, maybe taking the sack, taking the 3 points, or throwing it out, trying to step out the pocket to throw it out of bounds and live to play another down, he just threw the ball straight in the air, interception, game pretty much over. I didn't understand McVay's game plan in this Super Bowl. He's been considered a genius for the last 2 years, and it seemed to me in the last 2 games, it's just his game plan has just been subpar, especially using Gurley and splitting time with Gurley. And everyone is telling us Gurley is healthy. So I don't understand how this man can have 10 carries for 35 yards in a Super Bowl. And you don't even – I was screaming the entire game, Liam, like, throw a screen. And they never threw a screen to Gurley. I think they tried like maybe one time in the third quarter. And it was just ridiculous not to get this man the ball 25 to 30 times in this game instead of putting the ball in Goff hands. I didn't understand that. I thought Wade Phillips and his defense – also had a great game plan, also played beautiful. Wade Phillips is one of the greatest defensive coordinators in history, and he showed it in the Super Bowl. So, all in all, to me, it wasn't a boring Super Bowl as everyone was saying, because as long as the game tight, I'm sitting here waiting on the edge of my seat who's going to make the play to win the game, who's going to make the big play. So although it wasn't a high-scoring game, I'm a football fan. I know the game. I played the game at a college level. I'm sitting there watching the game, trying to see who's going to potentially make this big play to win this Super Bowl, which is the biggest game of the year. So 3-3, 10-3, whatever, I want to see who's going to make the play. So to me, decent Super Bowl. Would I watch it again? Probably not. But I love the defensive schemes that was going on in the Super Bowl. I love the chess game that was played between Wade Phillips and Tom Brady, and I love how Belichick just pretty much overwhelmed the young McVay. With that said, I'll pass it on to you and see what you have to say about this game.
Well, I think we give it too much slack to McVay because I went back and I did some research for his team. Ever since they lost Cooper Kupp, it was a receiver that they lost early in the year. Their offense hasn't been the same. They've been more run-oriented. They wasn't high-flying. First of the year, they were high-flying. They could throw it all around the field. And Cooper Kupp was the receiver that was 6'2", 210, that could run routes, a big body, somewhere he could just throw the ball to with mismatches. They didn't have any mismatches. If you look at the Rams wide receiving core, Brandon Cooks is fast, but that's it. If you look at Robert Woods, he's a solid receiver, but he's more of a guy that's like a number two option, a solid number 2 option. And along from that, they didn't have anything as far as their receiving core. Same thing I said about the Saints. I said this too. The Saints offense down towards the end of the year was not like it was at the beginning of the year because of the injuries at wide receiver. Once you take away Michael Thomas, they don't have anything. And so that's what Bill Belichick did. He said, hey, we're going to take away Brandon Cooks, took him away, put Gilmore on him, and move coverages his way, and that was it. When I watched golf, his guys were covered, too. His guys were covered. They did a lot of crazy schemes with his offensive front, so he didn't really have a lot of time. This was one of the first games I saw the Patriots get after the quarterback because Belichick's DNA for the last couple of years, and what I've been critical about, they just play a simple cover 3. They rush forward. They don't get pressure. They let you make the play. They don't give up. They don't want to give up a touchdown. They give up field goals, and they'll let you drive. They came with a lot of different type of zone blitzes, and the offensive line was not prepared for it. It was very obvious on that end. Now, I want to get back to Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't have a bad game. He played very well. A lot of tip balls. The first interception, Wade Phillips did fool him. I think the second interception in the red zone was play calling. I think they should have went ahead and ran it there. But nevertheless, the Rams scouted it. They knew what was coming. But all in all, they played well. They got in the Rams scoring. It was a number of times. They got a scoring range. They couldn't convert, missed a field goal, 7 for field goals. They should have had that touchdown when they went and did their play action. So Tom Brady was driving the football. Then the Rams adjusted, and it kind of became a defensive game, and Belichick felt confident in his defense. Also, too, it was a play where the Patriots had a 4th and 1 like at the 40 of the Rams, and they punted instead of went for it. And, I would have went for it there. So it's there was a lot of conservative game calling as well from the Patriots because I guess they knew they felt confident with the defensive game plan. For Todd Gurley, he's been hurt. I mean, they say he ain't hurt, but he's hurt because there's no way that he wouldn't get those carries if he was 100% healthy. I did see an interview that he had before the NFC Championship game, and he said that him and McVay had a plan about his knee and everything else. So he definitely was hurt. He wasn't 100% in that game. So that's probably the reason why he wasn't as active as he probably could have been in that game. But nonetheless, Belichick, they came up. He and Flores came up with a very good defensive game plan. And I think Jeff Goff got a lot of flack for just playing bad. I just think that he didn't have the protection. I think they could have went more. I think Tony Romo was saying this as well. The check down pass was there. They didn't go to it enough. The easy passes that they could have went into and basically got him a rhythm. He was saying it was there all game, but they didn't go to it. So I think all in all, Patriots is just better in facets of the small things in the game. And that was it. I think Rams had guys like Aaron Donald, who they had a great game plan to make sure that they didn't, early they went to their spread and they got rid of the ball quick, which I thought they would do. And that basically neutralized the pass rush. Because Tom Brady wasn't holding on to the ball. One time, I think he did hold on to the ball a little bit too long. He had that fumble, basically. So all in all, good game plan. It was a defensive game. I think the Rams and the Saints, either one of them would have lost because the injuries. The receiver, they couldn't expose any team they would have played like they wanted to.
Exactly. I want to challenge you on a couple of things before we move on to the next topic. You said Tom Brady didn't play a bad game. I felt like Tom Brady didn't play to the Tom Brady benchmark. I'll give you an example. It's like when we watch LeBron James play. If we watch LeBron James play a game and they're in the playoffs. Let's say they're in the Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals, and LeBron is 6 for 16, 25 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and they lose the game by 5. We're not, to anybody's standards, an average player, that's a great game. They're not going to get any flack. But by LeBron James, Jordan, Kobe standards, that's not a good game. LeBron James should have done more. 16 shots, he should have took 26 to win. And that's what I'm judging Brady off of. Brady is a quarterback that has always performed well in the Super Bowl. Even his first year, he didn't have but 150 yards passing, but in key moments, he performed well down the stretch. And so we weren't used to seeing Brady come out and be so pedestrian and so subpar when it comes to Super Bowl. And I listened to Ocho Cinco, and he was saying how Tom Brady is the type of quarterback that plays the game from the inside out. Like, his number one receivers aren't really number one receivers because he's looking inside and working his way out. So he's looking at running back, fullback, tight ends, slot receivers, then your outside wide receiver on the outside. He didn't do that this game, as you pointed out. So I would agree with you on that. I feel like Tom Brady actually did not play up to Tom Brady standards, and thank God for the defense.
But to that point, though, those guys weren't open on the Rams. That was their game plan. They said, "Hey, we gonna leave the outside open. If you want to beat us outside, cool. We just gonna man up on Chris Hogan. We're not worried about him. All our coverage is gonna be contained on the inside. That's what we're trying to." So it was only one guy that was open the whole game because everything else was covered. They even tried to cover Grunt. The nice throw that he threw the Grunt down at the goal line, it was like he was triple team. Yeah. So they had a plan to devise to take that away from Tom Brady, which was smart. I think they should have blitzed and played man more because if they can't beat me off the line, I'm blitzing them and playing man and bumping them, got a shot. But, I think that's where the issue came from. Okay. But no, not a great by his standards, but it was solid. It wasn't like a horrible 4-pick game or something like that.
Okay, real quick, answer this one real quick. McVay, you said you don't feel like he coached a bad game. They lost Cooper Kupp, and the offense has been going down ever since. But he's supposed to be a genius. If they lost Cooper Kupp in the divisional round, Liam, and and Gurley has been hurt, so he's limited at like 70%, and he has to make those kind of adjustments with your second best receiver and your best running back, your best ultimate weapon on the offense is hurting. You got to make those kind of adjustments in 2 or 3 weeks. I get it. The offense should look bad. The offense shouldn't look as it did early in the season. But he's had almost, a month and a half to prepare for Gurley being at 70% and almost 2 months without Cooper Kupp. Man, if he's a genius, he has to figure it out, and he has to be ready. I'm not going to give him that excuse.
He did figure it out. He went to the running game. That's what he did. He basically went to the running game to nullify all of it.
But he should have known that running game was too basic for Belichick. You know what I'm saying? A Belichick defense. He should have known that was too basic. He should have been ready to move Brandon Cooks around the field. It seemed like Brandon Cooks is just on the outside. He should have put him in the slot. He should have put him in different positions. He should have ran him on reverses. He should have been throwing screens to Gurley. If Gurley is only healthy enough to touch the ball 12 to 15 times, then I'm going to run him in key spots maybe 8 times to 10 times, and then those other 5 times I'm going to try to give him screens. I'm not just going to run him out the backfield and hope that Goff finds him out the backfield, I'm going to run screens directly to him. I don't feel like he did that. I was so disappointed in McVay in this game. I was honestly picking the Rams because of him. Because of him.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think, with him, he went to the running game. I don't think he stuck with the running game long enough either, because I think Anderson 5 yards here. I think his plan was to run the game, to play action off the running game.
Yeah.
So that's where they've been winning it. But the Patriots just covered them. So he didn't. I don't think he had just at halftime. I would say that.
Yeah, exactly.
He should have just been.
Okay. I think we covered that topic pretty well. Patriots won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady has a 6, considered the GOAT now. Belichick solidified himself as the greatest coach in history. I think Wade Phillips solidified himself as a top 3, top 5 defensive coordinator in history. And I think the Patriots' other guys showed us that it's not all about Brady. They stepped up big. Gronk stepped up big. Edelman stepped up big. Sonny Michel stepped up big. And that defense stepped up.
Thank you for listening to the PBR Sports Podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch new episodes and PBR clips. Like our Facebook page and share with your friends if you enjoyed this podcast. As we say in the South, catch you later.